All right, let's get down to business. I got some splaining to do. So I did play Resident Evil Village on Xbox, on stream. Go to my Twitch, the link on my YouTube page. Just go to the side on my banner and you'll see my Twitter and my Twitch. Both of them. Go over there. Check it out. It's cool. But I'm not going to be posting the gameplay. I wanted to desperately. However, for some reason, when I play it, before I download it, it plays fine. Everything's great. And then when I download it, it just fast forwards out of nowhere when I press play. And then it just stops and goes to the first frame of the video. And I still hear audio. Please tell me in the description what that means, because I have no idea how to fix it. I don't know what to do. So as of right now, the only way you can see my gameplay is on Twitch at this moment. There are 8 parts, and it was a fun hurrah. I'm gonna just say straight up right now, this Resident Evil game gets a 4 out of 10. And people are gonna be upset at me, but in addition to watching all of my streams from 1 to 8, from beginning to end, I explain completely from beginning to end throughout the game, little problems I see and little problems I have. And I'm going to tell you guys, because I already made a video before, a pre-play video of this game. And this one is going to be the post-play review, aka RANT, because I have a lot to say about this game. And I think it's pretty interesting. A lot of it's interesting. A lot. I was right about some things and I was wrong about some things, but as I hypothesized, Lady Dimitrescu, I heard her say it, so I know how to say it now, was only in 25% of the game, if that. And half of that was in the demo. So we basically got the shaft. All y'all simpers who were simping for her, and it's everyone. In my other video, my pre-play rant, I say the gay community, but it's not just them. And I put in the description, I correct it, but I'm saying right now, it is not just them. It's the e-boys, it's the fanboys, it's the loser scrubs. Every single person who was like, oh my gosh, step on me, like, you only got stepped on for like a quarter, not even a quarter of the game. She dies. This is a heavy spoiler review. Always read the description before watching any of my videos. I explain trigger warnings and all that if it needs to be said, and it gives a rundown of what's in the video, because some of them are very long and this one's going to be a long one. But as I said, Lady Dimitrescu basically carried this game on her back, and her part of the game is only an introduction, basically. The rest of the game is the rest of the game. The beginning where she's at is an introduction, basically teaching you how to play. Teaching you that there will be puzzles, teaching you how to evade, teaching you basically the fundamentals of how to play the game. It's only the basic. She's not an enemy to be feared, and it's horrible because actually when we go through the game and we finally figure out who she is and why she's the way she is, kind of, sort of, like, there's nothing to say. There's nothing left for her to do because she's dead. It's insane. They literally just kill her off. You sold this game on her back and her front, and she's gonna die. It's just so ridiculous. Albert Wesker was alive for like 7 games, and then you're just killing enemies left and right. What are we gonna do now? I know you guys, it's like you could have made a series for all this nonsense. A series where in the city of Townsville is under attack by Mojo Jojo, like continuously it's the same crap, different face. Like, in the city of Townsville is under attack by Mother Miranda. In the city of Townsville, the BSAA is wildin'. Like, okay, like, honestly, The game was sold on her back just for her to be killed off. And then, to top it off, icing on the cake, her daughters are like easy peasy lemon squeezy to kill. The vampire aspect, I was kind of ticked off, and a lot of people were. But you know what? They're not vampires. They're supposedly having to do with bot flies, which makes no sense in the grand scheme of things. A lot of people thought the buzzing was like bees, especially since like I don't know. The demo made it seem like Ethan was being stung, but they're flies. So why don't they look like flies? Have y'all seen the human fly or whatever it's called? Like, I thought we were going to see some of that. And another thing, let's before we continue, let's talk about the Village of Shadows story. Basically, aka Harry Potter and the Three Hollows story. That's basically what we saw. So, Mother Miranda is the mom who lost her daughter, Eva. And supposedly she died from the Spanish flu, which we learned in the last little bits of the end. Like, there was no setup. I'm pretty sure I didn't see anything. I literally looked. You can see all the hours I looked in corners and crannies looking for little reports to read. And it's like, we get this thing of, oh, please get the lipstick. You're going to tell me about some big old large lipstick, but you're not going to tell me anything about this girl or where she came from or how she fits into this. It's like, okay, Oswald E. Spencer is connected to it, but not in the way I thought. He's like, oh, your long life. Okay, great. Just because this dude's old, you're going to make it seem like he knew this girl. Like he's Mr. Smithers and he can just live in different time zones and different wars at a drop of a hat because you just said he's old. Okay, man. Like, okay, dude, honestly. Oh, I went to this place and then I saw that and then I made it this. Like, I'll explain what that means later. But honestly, this game deserves a 4 out of 10. It deserves it. And I promise you, I will get through to you. If you are skeptical, this video is for you. I will tell you why Resident Evil 8 is a 4 out of 10. So, like I was saying about the vampires, everyone was upset that there were vampires. And there are lichens. They call them lichens. They look nothing like wolves. The thing that does look like a wolf looks crazy. And there's no wolf resemblance, really. Except if you want to look at another Harry Potter. I do believe whoever made this game or had a hand in the designs watched Harry Potter and was so inspired by it that they did a few things, and I'll explain each time that it happens because there's a lot of Harry Potter references in this game. Strange enough. I don't know what that means. I don't know about their allegiance to J.K. Rowling or if it's the art that they like, but there are way too many similarities between the two that no way did this person not take into account that they were similar. No way. I will fight someone, honestly. I will fight somebody. I will fight somebody about that. But one thing is the Deathly Hallows story versus the Village of Shadows story. Another thing is people doing the mimicry of switching places of people like Professor Mooney did. Am I ringing a bell? One of Mother Miranda's final forms includes a bunch of whomping willows everywhere. Another thing, these lichens that I'm talking about, they don't look like lichens. But in Harry Potter, that werewolf dude, Lupin, Professor Lupin, sure looked like a hairless chihuahua that was inbred, most definitely. And that's what these things look like. They look crazy. It's disgusting. Every time I saw those things on my screen, I was so sickened. And like I said before, they just copied and pasted and whatever. It's the copy and paste because it's like I understand that it takes a lot and the enemies don't all have to look different. And I'm pretty sure that they had a little bit of differences, but it's just like, well, I'm trying to not die. I'm not looking at if they've got differences or not. When we go into Heisenberg's factory, I understand why certain things look the same because he's building robots that are all supposed to function and do the exact same thing. I understand that. With the other thing, they're like laboratory creatures, so they should kind of look different. And I understand that he was doing laboratorial things, but it's just like, I'm getting off topic. let's just roll back because we're going one lord at a time. Still on Lady Dimitrescu. Lady Dimitrescu. Like, now I know how to say it. I'm so happy that I know how to say it. I will never say, well, I'll say Lady D if I don't feel like saying it, but I'm going to be like Lady Dimitrescu. But I liked the fact that they gave an explanation on what Lady Dimitrescu and her 3 quote-unquote daughters' afflictions were. It was not vampirism, and she does have something over her face. I don't understand, like, based on the thing we get at the end, I don't understand if that's makeup and she's doing that so that when the cold hits her skin, it doesn't do anything. Because she goes outside and she follows you, but the girls, if they get to the ice, they freeze up, except Cassandra. Cassandra followed me outside, and I think they were going to do more with Cassandra, and they killed her off for some reason. I do know that one of the actresses who played the characters, one of the sisters, passed away in real life, and I don't know if that was Cassandra or the other ones, because they don't have different personalities. They didn't make it easy for me to want to know which one's which, because they don't have enough personality for me, and I'll explain what they could have done in a second. But as it stands, the fly situation, just because, they eat flesh, and that's basically all they have in common. Because the enemies that we fight in the dungeons and all that, they look like witches or something with swords and stuff, hash slashing me in the dungeons. They don't look like flies. They don't even look anywhere similar close to flies. And they're supposedly the flies, not people who turned in. If I read the notes correctly, what I got from the notes was the flies are the things that are mutating into something, not the people. The people die and the flies are eating the people. So it's like they're taking on and that's another thing. It's like they take on their personality. It's like prototype. Y'all are literally taking every single person's idea and just putting it into this game. Last game, Resident Evil 7, y'all decided to take from every horror movie trope and every horror movie. Like, there's literally, if you can think of a horror movie, it's in Resident Evil 7. There's a Jigsaw reference, there's Hostel, there's so much. There's so many references. There's Ring. There's The Grudge. Coming up the stairs, don't at me. Like, I'm not dumb. No one is dumb here. We're looking at plagiarism. It's not inspiration anymore. It's just not. So when we're going into RE8, I was already expecting them to take from each. But it gets crazy. It's insane. It's the Moreau thing with the creatures. I think that was cool. That was a cool nod. That's a nod. See? And it steps a little bit too close to, almost really close to not being a nod. Because you're like, first of all, you're going to name him Moreau. Then you're going to make him look like Igor. And it's just like so many things they added to just be like, okay, they just keep throwing things at and seeing what sticks. Like, let's make her look like a vampire and also do this and that and this. And I understand why they're eating flesh, because they're the flies that, like the blowflies that eat carcasses and corpses. But no creature afflicted with that affliction looks like a fly. The 3 daughters have flies buzzing around them. It's like, okay, that makes sense, because supposedly those 3 girls were eaten by the flies. And I don't know if those are the flies, because if that's the case, then they should be fly. But I don't know. It's strange. I can explain it to a point. When I get to that point, just then, I can't explain it any further. And y'all did a poor job putting that in there. Like, you did the minimal, and it's just like, you can't be doing that when we don't know what's going on. You're like, tune in next time. Like, here we go again. We got to sit there and wait for another game to figure out what's going to go on. And I try to give this game a chance. And it was exactly what I expected. Most of what I said came true, but I'll talk about that later. Some of the things I said were incorrect. Like I said before, Chris doesn't die. He doesn't die. But I knew that they were going to do that. They were. But the reason why they didn't is because people got upset. So whatever. We can say that that's not true, but like, when is something not true when it could have happened, but it didn't? So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We can only say, thank goodness that Chris isn't dead, because how are y'all going to, like, I'm glad that they killed Ethan. I'm like, literally when I saw his grave, I laughed, and that's terrible, but they shouldn't have had him in the game in the first place. They should have had him die in the other game. And I know they did. It's crazy because Evelyn's talking about, oh, you died. Duh, he died. He took his whole leg off and put it back. Like, duh, he died. Like, that was not a gobsmacking, like, revelation, boy. No pun intended. But it wasn't. I knew he was dead. I knew Mia was dead. That's why I didn't give her the antidote. I didn't give her the antidote. I gave it to Zoe because she deserved it. She helped me the whole time. Whatever. But like I said before, the Dimitrescu daughters do not have any features relating to a fly, nor does their mother, not even when she turns into that dragon thing. Let me explain why that's a problem for Resident Evil. Hunters were created from like reptiles or frogs or whatever, and their characteristics are evident. There's evidence to back this stuff up. It's evident in their characteristics that they come from reptiles. The enemies in Castle Dimitrescu are all flies, but none of them have any fly characteristics. They're just crazy, looking crazy. And they did that because they didn't want to spoil the secret reveal. And that's not a secret reveal that you should be hiding. We should be wondering, okay, why are they flies? Like, I don't know. It just seems like they did that to make us like slap our cheek and be like, that's crazy. And it just gives an explanation, and that's fine. Give an explanation. That's what I want. Give explanations. But like, that you did that, and it's just like, there you go. And then because you wanted to make a demo so badly, which we don't have to have a demo. We don't have to. We shouldn't have to see a demo in order to be like, okay, we want this game. We should be like, of your own merits, we should want to get your games. But as it's standing right now, seeing 7 and then seeing 8, I'm not sure I want the next game. Y'all can keep it. And I bet you anything they're either going to remake Resident Evil 4 before Code Veronica, which is strange. And here's one thing that I'm going to say. It seemed like they are at the crossroads and they know something's up. I know that they're either watching someone's videos or they're in the know. Someone is feeding them something, because they have a lot of hidden things in this game that are reminiscent of Resident Evil Code Veronica, but also Resident Evil 4. So it's kind of like they are like at the crossroads. Are we going to do that? Or are we going to do that? There are way more things in here that can relate back to Resident Evil 4, but Code Veronica, there are a few things in here that could actually predict them going that direction. But honestly, the daughters, I would have loved to seen different cutscenes with them. It just seemed like they were here and then they were gone. They were here and gone way too quickly. Lady Dimitrescu was here and gone way too quickly as well. Here and gone way too quickly for the freaking game to have been sold on her back. She should have been a person who could have survived. Newsflash for the people who are new, because I know you're new, because your games don't seem the same. And it's like, oh, we gotta evolve. You want everything the same? Well, why don't you go talk to the people making Call of Duty and then ask them how Advanced Warfare went? Are they making more games like Advanced Warfare, or are they making games more like Call of Duty Black Ops? I'll wait for you to go Google that, because you probably don't know what that is, whoever's working there. Time's up. No, they are not making Advanced Warfare games anymore. We are not jetpacking to the moon anymore. We are rough gussing and bustling in deserts. And we are going prone in sand. That's what we're doing in Call of Duty. So don't tell me you can't make the game the exact same each time and people not buy it. That's just not looking at facts. So you cannot use that as an excuse. So don't come at me with that. Ended. But honestly, I digress from that. The 3 daughters have no personality, and it's sad that one of the daughters passed away Because now, even if they were to come back, which I know they're not because they died, but if that was the route they were going to go, they would have to recast her, and that's fine, because I do believe that they should recast Chadwick Boseman, because I think it's real interesting that when people pass away, some people are replaced and the show goes on, and some people aren't, and then people say, oh, well, that's out of respect. But that's interesting because Dumbledore still, like, we still kept on going with Harry Potter, and Dumbledore changed. What was up with that then? They wanted money. So it just depends on how bad you want it, honestly. But I don't think they're willing to invest into another Black Panther. And that's sad, because I would rather see Black Panther live on for people than straight up, oh, well, bye-bye Black Panther. Black Panther doesn't exist. Let's do this. And then get the incels riled up because his sister takes the, well, I don't think the Black Panther should be a woman anyway. Like, shut up. Like, freaking get out of here. Like, honestly, go to Mars with Elon Musk. But I really wish they had personalities before they died. But honestly, actually, a cutscene occurs when you're running from Lady Dimitrescu. She is like talking to Cassandra, and it insinuates that she's doing actions against the family. Like, oh, you're my daughter, act like it. And she's like, yes, mother. Like she was doing something, or she was going to be doing something. It seems like there are a few moments in this game that it seemed like the game was going to change, and it didn't. It was strange. It's like too many people working on this game or something. I don't know what it is. I have no idea, because someone please tell me if you got that, if you felt like that when you were playing this game. If it seemed like, oh, this is, oh, and then you're like, oh. Like, I thought for a second this game was going to be good. This was a roller coaster. Each time I was like, oh, this is getting good. And then, okay, this is terrible. Oh, this is getting, okay, this is really bad. But I thought, like, from that perspective, at that time, I thought Cassandra was going to, like, take Ethan to the side and be like, hey, I want to be cured, and please help me get out of here. And then maybe Lady Dimitrescu strangles her and kills her, and that's how she dies. But no, she comes at me like the rest of the girls do. It's like, okay, so what was the point of that cutscene? Making it seem like Cassandra wasn't doing a good enough job. And then another thing, one of the sisters says, oh, this is Cassandra's fault. And it's just like, what is her fault? Why is everyone being hateful to Cassandra? And it's just like, I'm interested, but they're dead, so we don't know. We'll never know, because the whole family has been demolished. It's just insane. We never learn who Cassandra, Bella, or Daniela are, or were before being reborn as the Sanderson sisters, but without any personalities to distinguish the three. They're like the three little pigs. They each have little kind of twerks that make them different. Like Cassandra seems more fun. Like she seemed like she had more of a fun time going against, like, Ethan. But the other two didn't really have distinguishing features other than, I think, their hair. Or the hair is different, and I don't know if they're wearing different outfits or if there's a different shade or something, but there's no difference between them, really. And it's horrible, because it's just like, just random people. And I know there's a lot of enemies. There are a lot of enemies. But get it together. Get with it. You have nothing but time. Why are people so afraid to give us gameplay? Like, they love to either give us a bunch of cutscenes, just like Kingdom Hearts 3 did, and give us no gameplay, or give us a lot of exposition and no gameplay. Like, if you're going to give us exposition, make a movie. That's really the bottom line to that. If you're going to give nothing but exposition, just make a freaking movie. Honestly. Like, had it quite enough. This game could have been a movie. This game really could have been a movie, and it would have been the exact same. It would have given me the exact same experience. And I'm not saying there's not a lot to do, because there is plenty to do. What I'm saying is everything that was done could have been in a movie. Honestly, it could have been in a movie, and it would have been on a higher pedestal. It would have been more successful, is what I'm saying. I wanted more story about the Dimitrescu dynasty legacy, or where she came from. From the little notes I found on the floor, I did not know where she came from. I'm going to do more research about it, but I didn't want to spoil it because I thought I would be able to find a lot, but I didn't find that much at all. And she gets the most deep dive, like in her personality, in her life, her aspirations, and there's barely anything. We barely scratched the surface of her life. We don't know how she got there. We don't know, like, it's like, yeah, we know she got tall, but like, how tall was she before? Like, we don't know. I don't know. It's just, I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way, but I feel like we should have gotten more out of each character and more out of the daughters, because supposedly she said, oh, the 3 girls died, but it's just like, who were the 3 girls before they became her daughters? Because they weren't her daughters before. Supposedly, based on the wording of the note, didn't seem like they were related. She was so built up. Her makeup is never talked about. She calls herself the dragon, like I said, and actually turns into a dragon rider. She straight up mutates behind a wall for a second, and that's just lazy. Let me explain. They didn't want to show everything on screen, so they're gonna have her slide to the back for a second, because why? I have no idea, because honestly, the most disturbing part of this whole entire thing, the most disturbing from Ethan's just mutilation in our face, the fact that we had a baby's head in a jar, and when we first learned that her body was like, that was insane. That really took me. When I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's gross. And then they're saying, oh, we made it not so scary. I think they did that to set people up, just because I think that's the scariest thing. Nothing in that happened in Resident Evil 7 was scary. It was disturbing. I think it's more Marguerite Baker everyone had a problem with, because of how her design was really gross, and just long langular arm things are just really creepy in general. So it's just like disgusting. Her final form was disappointing. You could have made her a better looking dragon. And another thing, they're trying to make this whole Kadar or whatever it's called, the virus thing, Monomalesco or whatever, it literally sounds like a sleeping drug. I really don't know who's coming up with these names anymore. It's getting crazy. But literally, this new mold / virus / parasite thing that they're doing now, they're making it seem like it needs a host, when it actually, if you read about it throughout the whole game, to me, from what I got, was it takes the consciousness of the thing it consumes. So technically, based on that definition, a lot of the game is flawed, just based on that alone. But we'll just say, okay, this is fiction, and we can just say, okay, they're going to be bloodthirsty and whatnot. Okay, fine. I'm willing to accept that. I'm willing to accept that and not take that into consideration. But what I'm not going to take into consideration is the fact that the Village of Darkness, or whatever, story or whatever it's called, basically explained each of the bosses that we had to fight. And when we get down to each one of them, it was a little disappointing, really disappointing. The only person who wasn't disappointing was Moreau. Strangely, I thought I was going to be the most disappointed in him. But I'm going to talk about him later. I still have to talk a little bit more about Lady Dimitrescu, because honestly, I was so disappointed in her transformation. I thought she was going to look like a bat, because in the story, it's a bat that gives that girl the blood or whatever, and she turns into a dragon. Like, just because it's cool doesn't mean you should do it. I'm the dragon, and I know out of like every single person in the world, like, I love dragons, but I'm not going to applaud you for making her a dragon when she should have been a bat-like creature. And we should have had more air situation, because she was the only one that could have possibly had air to her advantage. But y'all didn't think about that. It's just like, she flew and did all that, but she was a dragon, and you know it. You said it. She said it. We all know it. it was not a bat. And she could have had 2 forms. And it seemed like she had kind of 2 forms, kind of. But it was just the thing just on the ground without its wings extended out. But I feel like she should have had more than 1 form. And I feel like she should have been harder. She was a really easy boss. She was a baby boss. And speaking of baby boss, I'm just like gonna freaking go off when I talk about Donna. But one last thing, let me talk to you about what I liked about this whole Lady Dimitrescu situation. I liked what little lore we got explaining the afflictions, plus the twist, not flames, but ice destroying these vampire things, but not really vampires. And it's ironic because Ethan's last name is Winters. I think that was a cool nod. That's a nod. Like, that's good. Her boss battle was far too easy, like I said. And she should have, like, freaking been in the whole game. The sole fact that she was sold out on this situation. She should have, like, crawled away and had maybe united with Mother Miranda at the end. That would have been cool. That would have been a cool boss girl moment if you guys really wanted that. Like, but y'all didn't have that. And that's kind of the extent of what I liked about it. Everything else was trash. It was terrible. No creatures looked like or had any relation close to flies. Didn't look nothing like flies. Didn't act like flies. Didn't have no flies around them. Just the daughters. And it's just like, okay, fine. Let's talk about the next lord. Honestly, Donna Beneviento. I was excited because this is where I got when we went into the house, it gave me a flash of Resident Evil Code Veronica. My first impression was Alfred Ashford effect, where a loved one has died or is gone, and they use a form of mimicry to keep them alive. Literally, that's just like what Alfred Ashford did with Alexia. He pretended to be her, and I thought that Donna was, because there was a doll that was a bride that he was pretending to be her, but also being her as the doll. And that's why there was, or it could have been a she and a she, but I thought it could have been a he because there was a post on Twitter that referred to Donna as a man. They said he. But the picture of them in the game, uncloaked, looks very feminine, but his or her story is never explained unless I missed something. Please tell me in the comments if I missed something. Nothing about Donna is explained. We get a few things about plants and hallucinations, and it's like, okay, so first of all, that just goes out of the window. When Ethan's captured and he's talking, he looks and he sees all the 4 lords sitting there talking about, oh, what are we going to do with this fool? That dude Heisenberg talks to that puppet like it's moving by itself. So tell me, if the puppet's not moving, is Donna pretending to be the puppet on the ground and also simultaneously at the same time while simultaneously sitting in the chair? Because he didn't address Donna. He addressed the doll. So is Donna over there? Is everyone being affected by this? Or is it because it's Ethan's perspective? But that doesn't make sense. Because Heisenberg has nothing to do with the vision. Therefore, is she going to take into consideration that Heisenberg would have said something to the doll and not her? But if he's talking to her, then why isn't he looking at her? Because it's strange. See, when you start talking about when we did the fight and I freaking stabbed her in the eye and I thought it was the doll, but it was Donna. That made no sense because Heisenberg did not address Donna. Heisenberg in that clip, roll the clip.
He's away!
Brother, shut the fuck up!
What?
In that clip, Heisenberg straight out addresses Moreau and Angie, not Donna. Like, there was a difference. So I don't understand. I really don't get it. I don't get it. But this whole doll thing was strange because the next one in the story of that shadows or whatever, village of shadows. The next creature is supposed to be a spider, but the Mother Miranda's a spider, which makes no sense because Mother Miranda's supposed to be the mother in the beginning. The dawn of battle is really twisted. This whole section feels like another game. It feels like Outlast or something. Like, it's gross, is what I'm telling you. The whole thing's a puzzle, but that just because I said I wanted puzzles in my Resident Evil game doesn't mean I want a whole section where my guns are gone. And just to let you guys know, by the way, if you're going to put into this system that I am buying things with my hard-earned cash, do not take it away from me. I cannot believe that you guys took the guns away that I paid for. I can't believe y'all took my guns away that I actually paid for. Like, take the guns that I got for free, but don't you dare take the crap that I bought, because I bought that crap. Never take our weapons again. When I had to put together a strange puzzle with blank circular shape pieces in order to get through this phase, like I said, it felt like a different game. Donna has no particular aspirations. Lady Dimitrescu has the longing to be a mother and powerful. I assumed Angie was a stand-in for a lost love. But based on the tombstone in front of that girl or boy's house, his sister died at 9, so the bride doll makes zero sense to me. Like I said, did I miss something? It looks crazy. It looks strange. She could have been anything. She didn't have to be some doll that looked like she was getting married, a bride. It didn't make no sense. Y'all just did that for strange sake, not for any sake of the game or for logical reasons. The puzzle house was way too constricting and claustrophobic. Like, it looked like a big house, but it felt so small and thin. And I don't know if y'all did that on purpose, but it was gross. I didn't like it. The whole hide and go seek thing with the fetus was strange and unnecessary. It was gross. I didn't learn anything. That whole thing was strange. And then it gave little hints here and there. It's like, oh, Ethan's so special. Ethan's so special. And that's another thing I hate in the game. Why is Ethan so special, but Mia isn't? Didn't she get shot a billion times and fine? I understand Ethan's the hero and all that, but guess what? Mia, how is she alive? And another thing, how is she allowed to be out in the world? Like, I understand that Chris was trying to get her close and all that because he's nice. He's a good guy. Like, I know him. But Chris, not Chris, because this dude's not Chris. By the way, I will be referring to him as Chris, not Chris, or Carlos, because how on earth, like, this is a big thing. This is not a nitpick, and this is not something, oh, you're just, like, this is 100%, this is solid. This is a solid argument, and this is a solid critique. If you are hired for a job, how about you look at who took the job before you and try to sound like that? And if you're not good enough, then the casting director should have said, thank you, have a good day, and not have paid you for the job. The casting director is at fault, and the person who took the job knew that he sounded just like a character that he already played in the franchise. You've already played a character. Why are you going to play the exact same voice? You could have done anything. This is my regular voice. This is a different voice. This is a different voice. It's different. But if I play a character that I sound like this, and then I'm playing another character in the same franchise, the same world, the same universe, I'm not going to sound the exact same. The least he could have done is fluctuated something. And if he's got some disease that I don't know about that makes it to where he is forced to sound exactly the same, then he shouldn't have taken the job. Should have went to someone else that actually sounded like Chris Redfield. How about Roger Craig Smith? He's not busy. He's probably busy, but you know what I mean? Like, he can get him. Go get him. He could be on the toilet taking a crap and like sound like Chris Redfield. Like, get him. I don't know if he's in that union thing that all these great actresses and voice actors are under, and they can't do no voice acting no more because y'all won't pay them enough. But honestly, get it together. Start putting out some money, because you're putting out money for someone to sound the exact same as another person. But whatever, I digress. There was no boss fight with Donna. The new virus / mold / parasite is elaborated barely. And honestly, like I said, how does Angie move on her own in front of everyone, but is supposedly like an illusion? with psychedelics. And like Donna gets no mutation. How come she wasn't a spider? How come we didn't get to have how did she take our guns? Was it because we thought we didn't have no guns and that's why it was an illusion? Everything can't be an illusion. And another thing, with the whole thing with Ethan talking to Evelyn in his mind, like I said, they're all still mold people. How on earth is he allowed to walk around and just be around people? How was he allowed? There should be a place like a retirement home for people who have been exposed to all these things, because they're piling up. You got Jill, you got Claire. Claire in Resident Evil Code Veronica, she was infected. Yes, sirree, Bob, she was infected. Jill was infected in 3. She was infected in 5. Like, everything, she's been exposed to that crap in the Mediterranean seas. They need to go somewhere. Get it together. Stay away from population. But honestly, there's something that bothered me about Donna. There's a cutscene where she's like, oh, don't leave yet. But why not? It's never clear. Moreau does the same thing. He's like, oh, as he's throwing up in my face, he's like, hold on, like, it's okay, I'll wait for you to stop throwing up, like. But she should have been a spider. Like I said, in the Village of Shadows, it was bat, spider, sea beast, and horse. And technically, Heisenberg is horse, and electronic, mechanical thing is like, I get that. I can understand that, and I can understand what that means. But it was lost here. Just because there's strings attaching to a doll doesn't mean it equates to spider. That's not how things work. She should have been a spider boss. And then Mother Miranda should have been a bird boss like I thought she would have been. Not no bird/spider looking thing. One of Mother Miranda's forms actually looked like Saddler's form. Let's talk about Moreau. Moreau's ugly, and his situation was sad. Most of what we learn about him through secret reports is sad. His thing was, it said he had his brainwaves were low or whatever. But I don't know. I think he was just maybe underdeveloped or something. He was the hardest boss battle between the pseudo siblings and like everybody else. Nobody did I have a problem with, not even Mother Miranda. I had problems with Mother Miranda at the end a little bit, but I killed her faster than I killed Moreau. Moreau took some time because I was getting stuck and I didn't have any I ran out of ammo and stuff pretty quickly after around the time I was in the water with Moreau. For some reason, I literally was doing so good on ammo. I had so much ammo, and then I just wasted it. And I don't know where it went so quickly. I'm so happy that Moreau had a voice. The lack of explanation of his character hindered my ability to care about him. Like I said, we do get some things about his personality and some of his secret reports, but it's not enough. We got more Lady Dimitrescu, but we should have gotten more from her. The fact that we knew more about her coming into the game than we knew about anybody else, and Heisenberg gets more of an arc than she does, and she dies so quickly. And supposedly Heisenberg's supposed to be the worst of the worst, and she was stepping up to him. I think that she should have survived till the end, at least, at the very least. But, of course, just like everything, playing games, y'all are gonna use and abuse a woman and then throw her to the winds, gonna set her up and prop her up like a straight up prostitute and have her running around talking about, oh, step on me, Lady D, and then kill her in the first percent of the game, whatever. But anyway, Moreau has a cool design. I was afraid he wouldn't have a voice because he didn't speak in the beginning, unless I don't know, I missed it, but I don't think he spoke in the beginning. His part in the game was fun, but very quick. When you have fun in the game, it's quick. But when you're struggling, like in Heisenberg's freaking factory, it goes on and on and on and on. And then you hear, and then shh, and then, like for like hours and hours and hours, because you're in there for so long. It's the longest part of the game. But around this time when we are with Moreau, we meet up with Carlos Field. During this part, like, we find out we're out of our depth or whatever. Honestly, the not telling Ethan thing about the whole situation at the end, when we learn he gets like chastised and reprimanded by his belowlings about, oh, you should have told. I've been like, your mama should have told. I'm your boss, boy. Like, don't step up to me. He literally has more jurisdiction than everybody in here. He was in the first game. He's literally an original GOAT, greatest of all time, Resident Evil alumni of Raccoon City. Like, honestly, I felt so horrible. And then when they were talking about Roger, every time I heard them say Roger on that stupid walkie-talkie, I was so angry, because I know y'all did that just for me, because I wanted Roger Craig Smith, and then you got Carlos for some reason. All right, like, you guys probably think I'm just saying this. I'm not just saying this. Listen closely now. We watch SpongeBob, right? We know how everyone sounds on SpongeBob. We should all know what everyone sounds like on SpongeBob. Let's just take these great voice actors, and I'm pretty sure every single one of these voice actors, because they're cool, they're really good, they could probably play each other. But what if Patrick was sick one day, and the dude that plays SpongeBob was told to play Patrick one day at the same time? It's just like SpongeBob would be talking to SpongeBob if he just kept the voice the exact same. I don't understand. I don't understand why this dude, I don't even know his name. I really don't know, and I'm not looking it up, because I really don't feel like looking him up, because I'm not like that. I'm just going to complain about it because it's just disgusting. I'm not going to go talk to him about it. I'm not going to ask him why. For the money, that's why. But, like, honestly, did someone pay him to be Carlos again? Did someone pay him to make me upset? It seems like someone paid him to make me upset, because I'm to the point where I'm just like, you knew that you played a character in this universe already. You knew you played a character that in this universe already. Why on earth wouldn't you switch it up a notch? Why wouldn't you plug your nose or something? Why wouldn't you hit your chest? Why wouldn't you, like, guzzle down some wine or something before you played a character in the same universe? It sounds the same. It is super jarring. You sound like that dude. What's that dude's name? Javier from A New Frontier, The Walking Dead Telltale game. I hear that when I hear Carlos. And I hear Carlos when I hear Chris. Why didn't you change the voice for anything? Did you get hired to sound just like him? I'm asking now. Did you get hired? Did they say on the job description, on the paper, you must sound like Carlos. You must sound like Javier. Something's not adding up. And this man better not be Anglo-Saxon. He better be Hispanic. Because then I'm going to be mad. Because why didn't they just get someone Hispanic to play Carlos? Like, just because they're tan or dark skin doesn't mean that y'all get to be Anglo-Saxon it up everywhere you get to go, because y'all think that white people are that's just the ordinary, and then everybody else is just odd and out of place. Everyone belongs here. But I digress. After seeing all the laboratories in Resident Evil history, seeing Moreau's laboratory, the poor man's laboratory, is so sad. It's just, I literally felt more pity for Moreau than I did for Ethan when I saw him die. That's where we're at. I'm just letting you know. That's just where we're at. Now, let's talk about Heisenberg. The worst part of the game. Like, y'all did the same crap. You switch up, and it's just like, oh, you want to play the same game throughout the game? Like, yeah. If I buy a game and I expect the game to be the same game throughout, I expect the game to be the same game throughout. If you want to make Terminator on your own dime, not Resident Evil's time. Like, freaking honestly. You literally trying to make Terminator while we're like trying to get zombies. Like, there's a lot more what we want. I'm not gonna say we want the bare minimum because I'm not gonna accept the bare minimum, and we shouldn't have to accept the bare minimum. You sleazy, diabolical, greedy shysters. His story is very compelling. Despite all the problems I have with the entirety, like his boss battle, the mech suit, are you kidding me? And then we're walking, and then he's slowly coming at us. I'm pretty sure it's harder on Village of Shadows mode or whatever. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, Heisenberg's story is compelling. Too bad we get it solely through his exposition. Even y'all literally left a rambling of him talk about, this is my 18th attempt. Like, okay. The factory was the worst place. Felt like a different game. Felt like a different place, felt like a different world. Him being part cyborg was cool. I was fine with that. It made the thing, like every single thing that we anticipated, like we thought this was going to be about powers and magic, made sense in the end. They weren't vampires. It was another Las Plagas type switch mold thing situation. The doll wasn't moving. We were hallucinating, but that makes no sense. None of that makes sense in the context of the whole situation. It makes no sense for it to be hallucinogens, but we're going to continue. Moreau's just Moreau. There's really nothing like that I can say about the whole situation. He's just Moreau. It seems like he connects to that fish. It's like he's not the fish itself. Despite, I feel like they didn't need to make the fish because he was the fish. He could have been the fish. And I don't know if he was the fish before, but I don't think he was. I think he went inside the fish and became one with it, just like Sadler or whatever that dude's name is. But Heisenberg being the horse and having horsepower, I thought that was a very cool twist. I was fine with that. It was really good. The enemies are like insane. Bullets were almost useless against steel. Explosions were required, which is something that I didn't have. I was freaking playing games, running around, fire. That engine boss was the worst for me. It was so annoying. It was like one space, one little tiny area, and everything's on fire. I was just like getting cut up. Heisenberg's story of the rebel, the one I thought Cassandra was going to have, was a very good angle. I liked it. I liked let's join forces. I kind of wished that he listened to Heisenberg, Ethan. But he didn't. Too bad his final boss fight was a mech suit battle. Honestly, like, I thought that we were going to, like, actually fight Heisenberg at least once. He has a hammer. What was the point of showing him swinging that thing around, swinging that thing, if we weren't going to actually see him swing it? We get control at the end, but it was still like a mech suit situation. This entire sequence belongs in a different game. So when we get control at this time of Carlos, when we get control of not so Chris, more so Carlos, we get this blinding night goggle thing and this super gun that has to recharge for hours while the enemies are like running at you. The good thing about it is it's bullet based, not damage based. Like, you would have to hit them in the head, but you can like hit them in the knee and do the exact same damage. So that was good. They made it seem like Chris was more powerful. I noticed that, by the way. You can't hide nothing from me. Another thing I noticed was the reason why y'all had the freaking so slow, the elevators, was because you were trying to load the game. You can't fool me. So my hypotheses were incorrect. The Four Lords are not related to the founders of Umbrella and William Birkin, but Spencer is connected to Mother Miranda, supposedly because they were both old. They knew each other. And Oswald went here just like some people. Some people do this. This is a plausible thing that could have happened. It's just not something that I cared about enough. Like, why did we need this? You literally didn't have to make it look like Umbrella. But you did. You were like, let's add everything but the kitchen sink and add the kitchen sink, please. That's what y'all did with this game. Too much is going on. And then you're going to have Oswald E. Spencer being like a friend of Mother Miranda. She doesn't seem friend-worthy. Like, she doesn't seem like they would even be just talking. If I didn't see her talking with the lords in the beginning, I wouldn't even believe that she would actually sit down and talk with somebody. I feel like y'all are just trying to make a game and make it go so quick. y'all don't take into consideration that we're trying to, like, eat this up, and then it's just like we're full and then we're like having diarrhea at the same time because you keep feeding us crazy nonsense. Like, how about you expand games over and over? Like, you don't have to kill off your main villains. Ethan needed to die, and I was hoping that Mia would die too, but they had a kid, so now we got to deal with literally zombie baby, super zombie baby Evelyn. Like, I thought we were done with that. Oh my gosh. Like, just make Revelations 3. Get out of my face. Like, make Revelations 3, like, Jill and Claire Redfield doing something, because I just can't with this Winters family. I thought we were done with the Winters, man. So, as Chris, we find Mia, which makes me angry. Like I said, I wanted her to die. I wanted her to be dead. But she honestly got handed the shafts this game. She is treated like she didn't survive the same thing Ethan did and more, because she was also shot and she was also under the influence of Evelyn to begin with. She's been like that, and they just make it seem like, oh, Ethan, you have the seed, this propaganda for patriarchy. The mother's nothing. And then they kind of do this whole thing with Mother Miranda. Like, I feel like Mother Miranda and Mia should have had more interaction. Like, she's just like, oh, I just had experiments done on me. Like, okay. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't just be standing there and then getting sassy when I'm, like, not telling you where your husband is because I'm trying to spare your feelings. If I was Chris, I would have turned around and slapped her first. And then I would have said, he's dead. Like, but I don't believe that men should lay a finger on women. So, yeah, I wouldn't be Chris, but I'd be Carlos Chris. And I would just sit there and look at her and be like, he dead. And then I'd laugh. But honestly, she survived the mold. She survived all that. And then she's just like, oh, he's special. And he's so special. Da-da-da-da. And stuff like that is super annoying. Ethan is made out to be like coming of Jesus. And Mia's like some prostitute that no one cares about. It's terrible. And it's like, we should care about prostitutes. We should care about everybody. The realization given by Evelyn, like I said before, is like not shocking. It's not shocking. We knew he was dead. We knew he was undead, and we know that that baby's not dead, but it's just jarring to see that baby in a jar. Like, who was not gagged? Like, I was scared. Like, that was the scariest part of the game. That was sad. By the way, I hate Evelyn's voice. Like, her voice is just so annoying. I hated hearing it, and I hated seeing her back in the franchise. Now, I'm done with the Four Lords. Overall, with the Four Lords, I was disappointed. Lady Dimitrescu should have been in the game far longer. She should have been at the end. She should have tag teamed with Mother Miranda or something against Ethan. That would have been great. Donna, there was not nearly enough explained about Donna. I don't understand what choice of the doll, why that made sense in the canon. Mourning someone that was 8 years old. I understand that it's traumatic and that could have been something, but it's never elaborated on. We never get any elaboration. Moreau was sad. I was sad that he died. I was sad that they all died. They're villains, but whatever. Heisenberg had the best story overall, and I hated his voice, and he sounded like, honestly, he sounded like Nikolai from the remake, and I will look it up, but I haven't as of right now because I'm just like so angry. If that's him, I don't know why they have to be somebody's cousins. Dude that played Carlos and Nikolai had to be somebody's cousin because there was no reason for them to take these roles. I hated Heisenberg's voice and I hated his accent. I don't know what accent that was, but that was crazy. That was almost on par with the new Witches movie with Anne Hathaway. That strange accent she was trying to pull. It's almost up there with that. But I'm going to talk about Mother Miranda now. I'm done with that. Mother Miranda, like, I wanted more than just a couple pictures that we just go through before seeing Mia. Like, we just got a couple pictures and stuff, and then, oh, she knew Spencer. It's like, okay, that's another shoehorn person you put in here. Like, it completely blew my ancestor theory out the wall, but I feel like that was better than this, and that would have made more sense with the whole umbrella thing. It would have been like a family staple thing. Like I said, it's fine that he went there and was like, okay, I see this, and that looks cool, and that's inspirational to me. That happens, it's plausible, but not good. But now we know why Chris is here, because Spencer, it's all about making sure people can appreciate things that are there. Like, literally anyone else could have been in this game as well, except Ada. Ada, literally, I'm glad she got knocked out the running to be in this crap place, because she doesn't, even though I hate her as a character, because people love to ship her with Leon when Leon needs to be with Claire or no one. He needs to die alone if he's not going to be with Claire. But I'm glad that they straight up kept Ada Wong out this thing, because she doesn't deserve to be dragged through the mud as much as I hate her. Why bring in the BSAA in all this? Like I said, kitchen sink. Where's Terraforce? Where's everybody else too? Let's bring everybody up in here. Honestly, and then BSAA, and then they didn't include Sheva. At least I'm glad they didn't include Sheva now. Knowing the ending, knowing that the BSAA, they were like zombies or whatever they were testing out. But honestly, like, BSAA was like from 5. And we're like talking about it when y'all got 50,000 other people to talk about. Side note, if you needed connections to make 8 a Resident Evil game, Billy Cohen, if not already dead via the Nemesis program, he could have been a BSAA member too. That would have been cool. Or TerraSave or whoever Car Chris is supposed to be affiliated with. I forgot. I can't remember. I suppose, like, Jill could have been in a part of this on Chris's team. Like, they never get to be in a game together. Claire and him never get to be in a game together except Resident Evil Code Veronica, which you guys are like going over for some reason. But whatever. Mother Miranda, her battle was like, I didn't know when it was going to end. I was just like, I'm shooting everything. I'm giving her everything. And I'm just sitting here like, what am I supposed to do? Then I got to the end and I was happy. I was disappointed that she was a spider because, like I said, Donna should have been the spider boss. She should have been harder, and I should have had my guns. That whole fetus thing, running from a fetus thing, was weird. Was weird and unnecessary. I hid under the bed, and I ran away. The blood was on the floor. It was disgusting. It was weird. There was no reason for that crap. She should have been, I don't know, something else. She literally could have been any, and guess what? How about a crow? Because y'all been like talking about crows, and she was a crow, and then the crow and all that, and then she was the crone, like the old lady or whatever. I knew she was that old lady. I knew she was. You ain't fooling nobody. Just like I knew Evelyn was that old woman. Like, you ain't fooling no one. Like, try again. The only way y'all can fool people is when you don't give us enough information. And that's not fair. You should be able to give us enough information to where we should be able to figure out on our own without it being too obvious. How hard is that? How hard is that? I'm really done with Mother Miranda. Her fight was not as hard as Moreau's, honestly. She was the second hardest fight I had to deal with. Third hardest fight would have to be that stupid engine bullcrap. It was just more annoying than hard fight because he kept turning around. But overall, the game, the BSAA betrayal, unexpected, but like a lot is going on, so it's hard to like connections when there's too much to look at and to take in consideration. It would have been great if because they talk about the progenitor virus, they could have connected this game to Code Veronica, because I actually thought that Code Veronica was really going to connect with Oswald E. Spencer since it was connected to him, but not really. Ethan dying was unexpected. I thought that Chris was going to die because they were going to like make way, but they're still making way for his daughter. Honestly, I wanted them all to be obliterated. Like, you guys are like, oh, you don't want things to change. No, No, like, if you want an answer to that, then no. Then no. How about that? We'll tell you when you can change. We have the money. You have the funds. We have the money. Two different things. When you spend funds for a movie, you don't see that cash in your face. You can't smell that cash. Cha-ching. We can smell the cash we give you, though. Just saying. Mia should not be out and about in the population because she's still mold infested. She's infested. Like I said, Chris sounds like Carlos. It's jarring. I will never not talk about it. I will never not talk about it. I will continue talking about it to the end of time or until my voice leaves me. And now I have to contend with Rosemary, a.k.a. Evelyn 2.0, and I'll call her that to her face then. Like, freaking show me what you can do then, Miss. Fall apart like Betty Spaghetti and come back together again. Like, honestly, it's disgusting. This whole situation. She is a zombie baby. I could care less about the Winters. Where's Jill? Where's Claire? Where's Carlos? Where's Billy Cohen? Where's Rebecca Chambers? Where's Quint? Where's Keith? Where's Parker? Where's Shava Alma? The Village of Shadow story was cool. For maybe another game. Oh, for maybe another game. Or if it was even hinted at in RE7. There's no hint. And tell me, show me. Let's talk about it and tell me. Tell me, is there any inclination that we're going to some old-timey place in the 1900s? Like, Mother Miranda has always protected us, even though it seems like they've been being turned into creatures this entire time. But whatever. This game is no doubt better than 7, but only because 7 is only good because it's taking everything good out of some other place. If you put everything that you like, if you eat it all at once, it's not going to taste good. Like, pizza and donuts on top of each other, like, that's not going to be good. You can have pizza, you can have donuts, but you cannot have pizza donut. Like, get it together. It's better, like I said, than 7, but it leans on 7 to function as a sequel. And if you were going to do this whole sequel thing like you're doing with Resident Evil Revelations and Revelations 2, which makes no sense because Revelations 1 and Revelations 2, they do not coincide with each other at all. At all. At all. They are two different. They should have been called something else. It should have been called Bevelation. The next one should have been called Bevelation because it has nothing to do with the first one. Jill's not in it. Nobody that was in the first one. The storylines, Keith, Quint, gone. Parker, we don't see him. We don't see the anime hair people anymore in Revelations 2. So why make Resident Evil 7 and 8 like standalone spin-off games, but still keep the number? These are sideshows compared to Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil Code between Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil Code Veronica, sideshows. They're connected together. By gameplay, by items, by characters, by how everyone connects. From 0 to 1, Rebecca connects to the Alpha and Bravo teams. From Resident Evil 1 to 2, Claire and Chris are brother and sister. Everything has something to do. Birkin was in 0. Birkin was in 2. Freaking, I don't know what else to tell you. Jill was in 1. She's in 3. Like, 4 is the first time that things start going haywire in your brains. You were on acid, honestly. Just admit it. Freaking admit it. RE4 made RE more of a merchant relying, giving you all the ammo and items easy thing that Resident Evil 5 semi-continues. Resident Evil 6 was 4 different games in one. 4 different games in one because they do not know their own audience. Just saying, they don't know. They don't. Because you can either play as Chris and get a semi Call of Duty type situation. You can either play as Leon and get a Resident Evil experience, kind of, maybe a little bit, kind of. Or you can play as Sherry and get this garbage that makes no sense. Or you can pick the bonus and play as Ada and just freaking do the Ada thing that we did in 4. Like, kind of a side swoop story that makes no sense. Like, how does this happen when this happened and that happened? But whatever. Whatever. No one's looking too deep into it, right? Wrong. Resident Evil 7 was gathering all the Call of Duty players, and Resident Evil 8 got a greater audience with throwing everything at the wall, including Lady Dimitrescu. And that and everything that I've said is why I give Resident Evil Village a 4 out of 10. I'm done. At this point, at this moment, as of right now, I have no idea how to get my footage from Twitch to YouTube. So if you want to see my gameplay, go to my Twitch, which is on my YouTube page. Hope you enjoyed. Please, let's have a discussion in the comments. If you want to see my pre-review of this game, link will be in the description along with the Resident Evil playlist I have. If you want to see other Resident Evil videos that include my ranking of all the numbered games and a bunch of other things relating to Resident Evil and other games. If you want to see my gameplay, I stream a lot on Twitch. Like I said, it's on my page. Hope you enjoyed. I definitely enjoyed the game itself, but I did not think it was a Resident Evil game, and I think that is fair to say. That is very fair to say. And I'm disappointed in the man who took the job to be Chris Redfield, and I'm disappointed in the person who hired him to be Chris Redfield, because if, like I said, if he's got some disease that no one should make fun of or anything because he must sound exactly the same, or he's been in a trance and a witch cast a spell on him and now he can only sound like Carlos or Javier, then he shouldn't have taken the job. That's just simple and easy. He doesn't sound like Chris, and he doesn't have to. He does have to sound like Chris, actually, because that's what the assignment is. When people say people knew the assignment, or actors and actresses knew the assignment, he didn't even know what school he was at. And with that, I'm done.